Yes, everybody, what's going on? Manchester United face Wolves at Old Trafford this weekend, and Wolves are getting a hell of a lot of plaudits. Now, a lot of people are hyping them up as a top 10 team, a lot even saying they're going to come 7th, maybe even 6th. Now, I'll say straight off the bat, that's not going to happen. I've got them down as 9th in my Premier League prediction, and I reckon they're on course for that, or maybe even 10th. The reason they're not going to be higher than that is that they haven't got a goal threat. Raul Jimenez just simply isn't going to be the guy that scores 15 to 20 goals a season that is required to make them a threat to the likes of Everton or Arsenal. But who knows what Uncle Jorge has got in store, what he's got up his sleeve, because if they got one, then trust me, they could be very, very interesting as a prospect. Now, they do play good football. They work hard as a unit. I reckon one reason that you've seen Nuno Santo keep with the same 11 all season so far is because they're getting used to his system. Now, how he wants them to play. They'll field a 3-4-3 against United, and they'll work hard as a unit. They block, they press, they get behind the ball. But interestingly, they also get forward at the right time too, and I think it's very admirable. As you'll see here, they create, in a few of their chances, they commit a lot of men into the box. So if you check this out, this is obviously against Burnley. You can see the first instance there, we've got 5 Wolves players in the box, one lurking just on the outside. We've got another clip here of theirs. Again, there's 2 players basically off the pitch, but there's another couple inside the box as well. This repeats itself constantly. As you can see, this is from a corner, but they get men forward at a corner. If you keep rolling through these, Arkid, and you'll see again here, this is against West Ham. Numbers in the box. Keep going all the way through. Let's keep going with these. Again, numbers in the box against West Ham, but it's not just against the smaller teams that they commit bodies forward. They're also doing it against some of the bigger teams as well. When they played against Manchester City, just look how many men they're committing here. This is at 0-0, 37 minutes on the clock. 5 Wolves players in the box, and there's a couple lurking on the edge of the box as well, and that's not the only time they've done it. This is what they're doing time and time again. You can see this there. This may have been the goal, I think. You can see there's just bodies in the box. This is what they do. They commit men forward. Just hit it back on the main live. So they will get wide. They will bang crosses into the box. And they will actually get in and around and hurt you. Now, the key man for Wolves is going to be Ruben Neves. Now, Ruben Neves has created 71, or he's played 71 passes into the final third, which is more than any Premier League player. And I think of some of the, like Jorginho or De Bruyne or Silva, some of the players that you know were playing for big attacking teams that are constantly putting balls into the box. Ruben Neves, top of that list with 71 passes into the final third. He is the creative linchpin of this team. Now, let's have a look at what some of the stuff is that Ruben Neves does. So, as you'll be able to see here, Ruben Neves, this is against Burnley. What happens is he drifts away from his marker. This is what he's very, very good at, and this is why I'm saying Fellaini is not good enough. And I mean for this game, I don't mean for Manchester United. Now, as you'll see here, he's drifted off into space, and what he does is he puts a ball over the top. Notice the high line there from the Burnley defence. Ruben Neves finds himself in acres of space. This is criminal from Burnley, and he puts a ball over the top. He was so creative in this game, it was ridiculous. So look at the next one. As you can see there, this is a through ball. This isn't one over the top, but you'll see that again, he's managed to get away from his marker. Even though there's 3 men around him, he's found a little bit of space and he plays the ball into the channel. Then the other one that we've got, this is for Portugal, and you can see again, this is from a set piece. He's peeled away from his marker. He doesn't need much, and he puts it in and he creates a chance against Italy. This is a top class player, and what worries me is Marouane Fellaini is going to be the guy that has to pick the guy up. And if you look at what happened in the young boys game, Marouane Fellaini was ball watching and he lets his markers get away with him, and this guy is not Ruben Neves, and that is the big problem for me. So let's go back to the main live, mate. When I think about United's midfield for this game, I have to say, with Matic being suspended, I expected Herrera to be the guy that come in and do a job. But you look at the rest of the United's midfield: Fred, Fellaini, McTominay, Andreas Pereira. I'd love to see Andreas Pereira do a man-marking job on this guy, just because he's quick. Doesn't need to be all over him, doesn't need to Roy Keane the guy, but he has to be near him and he has to block off the passing lane, something Michael Carrick was very, very good at. Marouane Fellaini watches the ball far too often. He's great in the air, and he was the perfect option against Watford, which is why I wanted him in my team for that. And he was the perfect option against Burnley as well. He is not the perfect option for Ruben Neves and this Wolves team. They press high, they press hard, they will target him, and that would be a problem for Manchester United. He is not quick enough with the ball at his feet. He is not quick enough and agile enough to be able to keep up with Ruben Neves. And if Ruben Neves gets away, Ruben Neves is going to cause all kinds of chaos for Manchester United. That being said, I still think it's going to be Marouane Fellaini that takes to the field. Like I said, Andreas Herrera, Jose said in his press conference today, he's not going to be fit, he's not going to be ready. That's going to be a bit of a problem for us. Fred, I think he's still going to play, and you'll see why I'm going to put my starting 11 in a second. McTominay, I don't think he's ready, not for a game of this magnitude. And as I said, Pereira, with what happened at the Brighton game, I just don't think he's going to be given the opportunity to come in and do it. But this is the 11 that I'm going to be going for. So I think it's going to be Big Dave in net for obvious reasons. Tony Valencia will come back in. Jose mentioned that he won't play this weekend, Delo, but he will be ready against Derby. And I think that's the right way to utilise, maybe getting a bit more 10% out of Antonio Valencia. Say you've got a kid that's pushing for your place here, and you're going to be rested as and when needed. You might get better out of both players by playing them together in this manner. Luke Shaw, straight in at left back, was great again against Young Boys midweek. Delighted to see him back on form, and I really think that's a positive for United. Lindelof and Smalling seems to be forging its way into being Jose Mourinho's first choice centre defensive partnership. If he was unsure, I think he'd have mixed it up, because it was a rotated side we saw against Young Boys in the week. The fact that he played them after playing them at the weekend makes me think that he's trying to build a partnership here. I don't think he's breaking that this weekend. Now, Chris Smalling will be very interesting against Raul Jimenez as well, because he's absolutely massive and he's pretty physical. He's just turd. Now, he's scoring at a rate of about 11% of his chances, and that's, even in the Portuguese league, he was coming at like 12.5%, which is terrible. Zlatan was about 12.5% when he was playing for United, the season that he played for us, wasting chance after chance after chance after chance. And that's not even including the chances he's not taken as well, because Raul Jimenez is getting chances and then getting the ball caught up in his feet and getting tackled, let alone getting the shots off that he actually manages to get off. So Chris Smalling, I think, will have an excellent game against him. And there's the key. Like I said, I think it's going to be Fellaini. I wouldn't play Fellaini in this. I think I would go something a little bit more adventurous at home with Andreas Pereira in the number 6. You don't need to be physical against him. You don't need that physical capability against Wolves, because they don't play that sort of football. You need to block the passing lanes, you need to block off his options, and you need to stay tight to him. Andreas Pereira is quick enough of foot and an intelligent enough footballer to stay tight to him. And Herrera would have been perfect for this job. Herrera would have been an absolute godsend against Ruben Neves. It would have been a nightmare for him. It would have been all over him like white on rice. But he's not going to be available, so that's a problem for us. So I think it will be Marouane Fellaini. And everyone hopes he can replicate what he's done the last couple of weeks when he started in the Premier League, but I'm not banking on it. Ahead of him, I think Fred, for the pure energy that he's going to offer, because you need to match the sort of tempo that Wolves are going to bring. Paul Pogba, given that slightly more free role like you've seen, definitely more in this half rather than this half, which is what it's been for us all season. He has eventually been freed up to do the creative role that we all hoped he could. Alexis will start, whether we all want him to or not, on the left-hand side. It'll be Jesse Lingard brought back in on the right-hand side, and it'll be Lukaku leading the line. Now, I think they're defensively suspect. I think you can get at them. They defended excellently against Manchester City, but it's one of those massive bats to the wall. You're playing against the champions, you know they're going to come at you and come at you and come at you. But I think that the fact that United can go a number of different ways with the way that we play football is a massive benefit. That plan B option, and again, that might be a reason that Marouane Fellaini's in here. We might have to take advantage of the set pieces. They're the reasons he's in, but if it's 1v1 on Ruben Neves is going to take Marouane Fellaini to the cleaners. That is my starting 11. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're liking it, please give us a like in the video as well. It does help it get found on YouTube, which is obviously important for us. And this is sponsored by BetBull this weekend, and you can find out all about BetBull in the description below. And I'm going to be giving away £100 to one of you guys in like a minute and a half. So stand by, check this out. So here's what I'm going to be going for this week. As I said, it's sponsored by BetBull. You can find the link in the description below, and you can come and follow me on there at Mr. Stephen Howson, right there, as you can see. Right there. Come and follow me, Mr. Stephen Howson, on there, and I'm going to be putting an acca on right now. Let's have a look what we're going to go for. So I'm going to go with Premier League only. I'm going to go with Watford, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Leicester, draw with Newcastle and Palace, United to win, obviously, Manchester City to win, absolutely, definitely, because Cardiff are terrible. I'm going to go with Brighton and Tottenham to draw. I'm going to go with Chelsea to beat West Ham. That's 457 to 1. I'm going to stick a fiver on it, and that's going to come up around about £2,300. So if you'd like to get involved on that one, then follow me on BetBull. As I said, the link is in the description below. We're going to stick that on, and the good thing about BetBull is you can also spin the wheel and you can get odds boosts and all kinds of little different things, and ACCA insurance and everything. So we're going to spin the wheel and see what we get this time around. And it looks like 5% odds boost. That's going to take it to about 2,400 quid if this comes in off a fiver. So if you'd like to get a little bit involved with that, stick a quid on it. It's 500 quid or so, isn't it? Now, we're going to give £100 away. So if you're following me on the app, as I said, all you got to do, download it. It's free. We're going to go up and down here, and we're just going to choose one dude at random. Who are we going to go with? Let's go there. Kiabap. Right. If that's you, if you're in the comments now, that'd be absolutely wicked. But if that's you, Kiabap, you'll be getting £100 in your account. We're going to be doing the same every single week. So if you'd like to get involved with that, all you got to do is follow me, and one lucky punter gets £100 put in their account simply for following me on the app. We'll be doing the same. Make sure to check out the West Ham preview next Friday to see who wins another 100 quid. Now, all that's left to do is talk about my prediction for this game, and then I'm going to come to the questions and see what you guys are saying in the comments. Now, my prediction for this game is going to be a really tight 2-1 win for Manchester United. It might be down to the set pieces. I'm hoping for more goals. I think you could actually run up a decent score against them, but 2-1 is my prediction for this time around. What are you guys saying in the comments? Give us your thoughts. Give us your questions, and we will get answering those. Marshall will come off the bench, says Anthony Marshall. Can't believe no one signed Ruben Neves. He's obviously been linked with moves to United and City at the moment, isn't he? So, especially with who his agent is, don't expect him to stay there too much longer. Give me a get well soon, broke my arm. Ooh, that's got to be painful for you, mate. Do get well soon if you have broke your arm. Maybe Bailly could play to man-mark Neves. I hadn't actually considered that, actually. There could be something to be said for maybe moving Lindelof to a defensive midfield. But that's not going to do anything for Lindelof's development as a centre-half. So I hope not. Wolves haven't found their scoring touch either. Only 5 goals or so. They have quick, expansive possession, but they haven't been clinical of yet. No, Andrew, you're absolutely right, mate. Yeah, and the reason for that is, I think, is that Raul Jimenez, and I know I'm cursing him, and I know that you should probably put your entire life savings on him as an anytime goal scorer at the moment, but he's just not very good. He probably will score 8 to 10 goals for them this season. Probably against United will be one of them, because that's the way it goes down, especially when you call a guy shit. But he's shit. So, yeah, if Uncle Jorge managed to pull out a decent striker for them, maybe take a look at, or a punt on one of those young players. Maybe someone like Daniel Sturridge would probably bag for fun playing for this Wolves team, and he'd probably be someone that he could get as well. West Ham will beat Chelsea, says Anthony Marshall. Are you mental? They're not beating Chelsea. Chelsea are flying at the moment, and they've not even got a striker as well, so that could be the one. 3-4-3. Yep, that's what I think. That's what I think the Wolves will be playing. That's how they played all season. Possibly a better chance of Herrera marking Neves. Yes, mate, but Jose sort of hinted at him not being ready just yet. I haven't got the exact quote to hand, but I did read it earlier and go, there you go, that's the one. He won't be playing. Jose could play 3 at the back to match the Wolves formation. Yes, I do agree on that, and I did toy with that a little bit, but I think he likes the way we've been playing in the last few games. I think he's going to try and keep it as sensible as possible and similar as possible. Can't ignore Doherty. No, Doherty is their right wing back, and he's a guy that you definitely can't ignore. One of the things that they like to do is they like to play it inside. They like to do a little bit of a run around with whoever is playing in the forward 3. And I actually meant to mention, it was meant to be one of my notes as well, because their best player, aside from Ruben Neves, we've not even talked about, and he won't even start, and that's Adama Traore. I wonder if they could play Adama Traore as a number 9 from the start, and they'd be a whole different prospect. They haven't played him, they haven't started him a game yet, but he's still been their best player. And I think he's absolutely lethal. I like the idea of bringing him on later in games. Most of their games have been, a couple of goals in it, or 1 goal in it to settle the score. So that might be where they develop, because I think, they're getting into 6 games into the season now. I wonder at what point does he start to freshen the team up? Does he start to play a different system, maybe, or different personnel? Because he has been extremely rigid in what he's put out so far. So I'm very interested to see what he does, because I think that's going to be key to how they manage to stay in the league and progress in the league, because they'll get found out eventually if they're playing the same thing with the same substitutes come off the bench every single week. Hates Fellaini here. Oh, hi Fellaini. Sean says, I'm going for a 3 or 4-1 win for us. I think their midfield is very easy to get past. I wouldn't say it's easy, but you can get past it. Fellaini as a halfback, basically our third defender. This is why our system has been working so well. Yes, against certain teams that play that long direct ball either into a channel or looking for a target man. That's not what these guys do. They like to use it. Their playmaker, if you like, is Ruben Neves, and it goes through him, and he's got a range of passing ability where he can make things happen without it needing to go direct up to Jimenez. Fellaini has a good few matches. Matic is suspended and Herrera injured. Marouane is likely to start, but I worry about Fellaini against a slick technical midfield, says Andrew. I completely agree, mate. That's literally the whole point of this video, to be honest. Adama Traore is Lennon with worse crossing. I don't know where he get this from. When I've watched him cross the ball, the completion rates might not be great, but they're in good areas and they've got the right shape on them. So, no, I'm not having that. If anything, he's Lennon with worse crossing. It's better crossing, but definitely more performance-enhancing drugs, allegedly. He's massive. Is Lingard a number 10 or as a right winger? Either way, his movement is brilliant, says Colin McMahon. He will line up. Let's bang the starting 11 on, please, again, Arkid. If we have a quick look at the starting 11 again, so yes, in this system here, you'll see Jesse Lingard. He'll start here, but he will move and drift in here. Now, we haven't prepared it, so I can't show you, but Jesse's average position is round about here, occasionally around about here somewhere. It's hard to see because it's mirrored with if I'm going the right direction or not. But essentially, that's where he operates, sort of in this area a little bit. Often he'll drift all the way over here. Sanchez can come a little bit narrower, and that can sometimes cause us problems. And I think one thing that really impressed me about Marcus Rashford this weekend was his ability, so this midweek game, was his ability to stay out here and for Dalot to overlap him. That might be the evolution of what we see with Manchester United this season. And I want to talk about the Martial versus Rashford thing this week. So Martial ended up with a lot better numbers overall because Rashford came off, but he put in 0 crosses. He offered 0 defensively. There was tons of time he was passing it behind the players that he was playing with. You can say that's rust, and I think that would be a fair thing to point out. But this is also the guy that's playing in his preferred position as the left-sided forward. Marcus Rashford was playing on the right-hand side, which is not his preferred position, although I do think it's a position I'd like to see him in more. He completed 2 out of 3 crosses. He also had 4 interceptions and helped massively on the defensive side, giving Diego Dalot the platform to attack from. Now, Rashford's performance faded a little bit into the second half, and that might have been why he was taken off. But as I said, this is a guy getting used to a new formation, and he had a debutant behind him. Not a guy that's playing at the top of his game like Luke Shaw on the left-hand side that Tony Marshall had. He's got a debutant behind him, so he's protecting him. And I also think that after a couple of the mistakes that was made by Dalot, the one that Smalling bailed him out for when he slipped, I think he decided he wasn't going to be as adventurous anymore. There was also not the need for him to be adventurous anymore. So because he wasn't being as adventurous anymore, that meant that Marcus then had to do it a little bit more isolated. And if you look at the actual goal that that Marshall scored, it scored because of the movement of Marcus Rashford. If there's any interest in me doing this, I'll do this as a proper analysis of this. Maybe sometime next week around the Derby game. If anyone's really interested, if anyone's still got the bee in a bonnet saying that Rashford was shit and Marshall was amazing, because the truth is it was a lot closer, and I'll edge it to Rashford. I think Marshall was quite poor. Don't let the goal change your judgment big time. Adaturnham says it's rust. Howson, why do you have to play either of the two? Play them both. That's what I say. He wasn't going to do that. I thought he was very ballsy to play the 3 that he played against Young Boys, but he's not going to do that in the league. Certainly not against a 50-50, or something that's definitely not a sure thing. You're more likely to see that against Derby than anyone else, and I don't think you'll see that against Derby. IE says, I think Mourinho should do something daring and get Dybala next transfer window and dump Lukaku. Lukaku holds United back. That shows a massive misunderstanding of how United play. Lukaku is integral to the way Manchester United play. He is our outlet when things are going wrong. He holds it up way better than people give him credit for. And his link-up play is pretty decent as well. I don't think he's the 100% full package with what we want him to be doing yet. But United probably couldn't function with Dybala as our number 9. We would be terrible. Now, we don't have the style of play like a Manchester City. If Manchester City got Dybala to replace Aguero, you were probably looking at an absolute whitewash if that was the case. But Dybala couldn't replace what Lukaku offers in this team. You actually would be better with Fellaini replacing Lukaku over Dybala because of the way Manchester United play. You'd be better with Arnautovic or somebody like that, or Mandzukic. Like, you couldn't do what we're trying to do with Dybala. If you was going to say, Joe, Dybala's going to come in and he's going to play off him on the right-hand side, I'd be like, interesting. But Lukaku's the focal point of our team. That shirt behind you, I'll take it. It's a Paddy Everyone. I'm waiting to get it framed, actually. Would I take Adama? I would take Adama, actually. I absolutely would. As just as something completely different. Do I think we need to press more as a team like, say, a City or a Liverpool? Not necessarily. There's more than one way to win a game of football, and it works for what they do to a greater or lesser degree. I just think if we had centre-halves that made less mistakes, we'd be fine with what we're doing, and I think we'd attack a little bit more. Marcus's final ball was poor. Well, Anthony Martial put in 3 crosses and found 0 United players with them. Marcus put in 3 crosses and found 2. So if Marcus was poor, what was Anthony Martial's? I've got no prejudice in me here at all. I'm just talking straight facts with you guys. I think we need a natural, straightforward right winger for our right hand side that I think doesn't threaten opponents too much. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I do agree that we need somebody that can play naturally on the right hand side. That's why I was hoping Rashford gets 4 or 5 games every now and then to sort of try and figure out how to play that system on the right hand side, because I think he'd be excellent at it. Naveen, should Mourinho use 3-5-2 as a formation versus Wolves, which works well for us last season? I would normally say yes, but in this instance, I think United also want to be able to get behind them, because I think you can get behind this defence, and I would like to see us try and get behind them using the width and the movement that we could. This formation could very easily just transition into a 3-5-2, but it's more of a mentality thing. Keeping the 2 centre-halves that we've got at the moment, build a partnership between them, because we're constantly changing it all the time, and I don't think that's helping anybody. Lukaku was bad in the young boys game. He wasn't missing passes. His movement was way off. Not right for a striker. Need someone who's more agile. Aguero, Lucas type of striker is what we need. Unfortunately, mate, that's just not going to work with a Jose Mourinho team. He needs that big bully up front. That's the way his teams play. I kind of agree that he wasn't great against young boys, but no, he's still scoring goals, isn't he? So I got no issues with Romelu as our striker at the moment. He was missing passes. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he didn't have a great game against young boys. But you can't just here's the problem. You have to work to a plan. Mourinho's working to a plan. It takes years to build towards a plan. I think if he'd have got somebody like Perisic in, you'd have been talking totally different about Romelu Lukaku at the moment, because we're not really set up to get the best out of him. Sometimes teams are set up to get the best out of a certain player, and that player just looks incredible in that system. We're not quite there yet. I don't like Martial. I don't know what gives you that idea. I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like people that tell everyone that they're trying to leave the club and they just throw the teddies out of pram all summer and try and leave. I don't like that. Not sure if Mourinho's turned it around because Liverpool with Dalglish lost and won games like United are doing. I think he might have turned the corner. I don't think we can say that for definite just yet, but what I will say is, let's see what happens by the end of the season, because I would like to think that we could have, not the end of the season, the end of the month. I think by the end of the month, you might see a different attitude towards Manchester United. My opinion on Sanchez, I don't think he's been good enough either. I don't know why he persists with him when the likes of Martial and Rashford have come into the team and been dropped way faster. I don't understand that. I don't know. I really don't understand that at all. He hasn't been as effective as I would hope him to be. I don't really think he's nailed down that left forward position. I don't mind him when he's played as a 2 up there with Lukaku, but when he plays on the left, last season he was getting in Pogba's way a lot, and that was a detriment to both of them. That's not the case so much this season. Pogba's generally featuring a little bit more on the right hand side, so they stay away from each other, and that's a good thing. What I will say is, if you can get the best out of Sanchez, Pogba and Lukaku, you'll be a threat and you'll be an absolute match for any team out there. Maguire will be a United player in January. I'm not sure about that, but it'd improve us. Do you think we could potentially have the 2 best fullbacks in the league in the future with Luke Shaw and Dalot? I would say settle. Let's see where it goes. What time is kick-off tomorrow? 3 o'clock tomorrow. Martial and Sanchez are about the same level at the moment. Probably fair, I think. Probably fair. Pogba wanted to leave also. He did. He absolutely did. But he's been playing decent football. He has also had the opportunity to play decent football, but he is playing decent football. Joel says, I like how we're playing the last games. Hopefully we'll keep playing this way. I agree, mate. Colin says, we should really appreciate Lukaku now while we have him. He's an incredibly intelligent striker. I agree. Rooney wanted to leave. Did I like him? No, I didn't. Sanchez should have an appearance package. Could have an appearance package with his contract, maybe. Yeah, I do have thoughts that it could be something like that. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there, but thank you guys for tuning in. I've got a Premier League preview coming out as well, and there's a possibility of winning 10 grand, but check it out for that one. That's free entry as well. Also, make sure you download BetBull. We've got all sorts of stuff coming out again tomorrow, so there'll be a vlog on Sunday of the Wolves game. We've also got full coverage, obviously, of United against Wolves. We'll be back with United review tomorrow night. But thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you in the next one.